Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Activities for People Living at Home with Dementia. We are so proud to offer this series. We have funding from the Area Agency on Aging and the United Way of Tarrant County. These programs are recorded and are made available for viewing through a YouTube channel for future use. I'm Martha Brown, your host for today's activities. We are presenting today the topic Movie Theater, brought to us by Peggy Spear from the Amon Carter Museum of American Art. Peggy, I was telling everybody earlier this week that I hoped you would show us something from the olden days. Did I hit anything right?
Hit it all on the head.
Oh, good.
Oh, good.
Well, you take it away, Miss Peggy.
All right, let me pull it up.
Please do.
All right, so we're gonna kick it off here. Wait, let me make sure I can see all your beautiful faces. There we go. With this photograph taken in 1936. Tell me what you see.
Charlie Chaplin poster.
Charlie Chaplin poster, front and center.
Let me see what
Anyone
else.
recognize
I
this?
think it was a guy buying a ticket, I think.
Yeah, a man buying a ticket. Yes, he's at the admission. It says 10 cents.
He's wearing a hat.
10 cents for admission.
10 cents.
That's amazing.
Interesting at the bottom, it says music and sound.
Oh, music and sound.
Wow.
But
You
wait,
know,
there's more.
I think with sound, they mean it's a talkie. It's you
Yeah,
hear the speaking part.
and music usually was organ.
Yeah, or a piano player under the screen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You asked who that cowboy was. Is that Randolph Scott?
No.
Scott, that's what I was thinking.
No.
It's wait, I wrote it down. I was not familiar with him. It is Big Boy Williams.
Huh. Okay. Never heard of him.
Yeah, he was an American actor, commonly in Westerns. And
Okay.
this particular movie is called The Law of the 45.
That goes way back too many years ago for me.
I'm taken by the windows up at the top and how ornate they are.
Right, isn't it beautiful?
Mm-hmm.
So I did a little research on this theater. From what I can tell, this just kills me. They tore it down.
Oh.
And not that long ago, they tore it down in, I want to say it was like the 2017 or something like that, and made it, it went through many stages of a theater. And then it was, like your dirty theater. And then it was a bar. And then I think they gutted it and made it and tore parts of it down and made it an apartment building.
Oh, okay.
Wow.
So it's run the gamut of venues, and it's in the East Village in New York City.
Okay, East Village of New York City. I was wondering what city we were in.
Yes. So if you give it you can use your Google Street Map and you can look at what that address is, and
Okay.
it's no longer the Lyric Theater.
Say what was the name of the cowboy again, Peggy?
Big Boy Williams.
Big Boy, yeah.
You can see it on the
Williams.
poster to the right.
I can see the name Williams. I couldn't read the
Yeah.
other part.
To the right, it says Big Boy Williams. That's
Yeah.
that tall one. Yeah.
Yeah, and right here is
Yep.
it kind of says it. And then there's it seems to be a lot of movies happening that day, because you've got features over here, you got your movies over here. The Headline Woman, I also had never heard of, and that movie came out in 1935.
You have to remember, movies were not as long that during that age as they are now.
Sure, yeah.
Right,
Yeah,
not
they're-
nearly as long and not many options to choose from.
No.
So that-
Typically, as a kid, you'd go and there'd be a double feature. It would be preceded by the previews, a subject, maybe a cartoon. They had
A cereal.
I love the cartoon.
ongoing series movies, they'd have.
Yeah.
Philip grew up in Chicago. Did y'all know that?
Yeah,
Yes.
The big city, the big city.
like the shadow. You're always waiting for the next week to see what the shadow was doing.
I don't know.
Was Superman a serial? Were there several Supermans back in the 50s?
I think so.
I don't remember.
I don't remember now.
Flash Gordon, Philip said.
Yeah, Flash Gordon, I remember
Yeah.
him.
I wasn't even born yet.
Most of us were
I was
not.
gonna say, I don't think any of y'all were born yet.
No,
Well, thank you.
Hey, Peggy,
Yeah.
the feature that says on the left-hand screen, the headline woman, looks
Yeah.
like it's also a double feature with the angel and the prior.
Yeah, I couldn't make out the words on that. I don't know if that were the actors or the name of the movie.
I don't know.
But the
It's-
woman,
And the prior.
Go ahead.
yeah, the woman
I didn't get that.
here, I think starred in a few movies of that time. So she was
Okay.
kind of, from what I can understand, she was more of the name on that one.
Can you tell me how they're spelling prior and I'll look it up?
Pryor.
Okay.
So is
Now,
that,
Peggy,
what is it made of? Is that wood?
Yeah, it looks like almost like this, signs coffee shops will put out with the chalkboard on it. Like it looks
Yeah.
like it's something like that, like a what are they called?
Okay.
It's an A-frame.
A-frame, yeah.
A-frame, yeah.
like a sandwich board.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's kind of, yeah, more, yeah.
But nobody has
Nobody's
to
in
wear
it. Yeah, nobody's in it. Yeah.
No, it's
Yeah.
taking up a lot of real estate on these stairs.
It is.
We
Now,
would call them easels today.
Yeah.
True.
Yeah.
Yes, yes.
I like the little box office. It's the man is buying his ticket up at the window. Now we get those on our phone.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
Scan it under some machine.
Times have changed.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mhm.
But I think it's kind of an interesting snapshot in that you've got Charlie Chaplin looking at us with his outfit. And then we've got this man who almost looks like what Charlie Chaplin might look like from behind.
From behind,
Like
yeah.
that dynamic of the cardboard cutout on the actual person. But he looks, he's almost reading as if you were just reading all of those billboards and signs. He kind of just blends in with the environment.
Great architecture.
Mhm.
Oh, isn't it stunning?
I bet they
That
had
is.
velvet seats.
Oh, mhm.
Burgundy.
Yes, burgundy. You're back.
yeah, we couldn't enlarge the picture,
Oh,
Oh,
so we couldn't see it. But now I can enlarge it, and now I can see it again.
good,
oh, good.
good.
Yeah, this is actually, it's funny you say that, Yetta. This photograph, almost every museum in the country with a photo collection has this photograph. And I think it was through the Met. I ended up going on their website and you can like zoom in. It was either the Met or somewhere in San Francisco, but you can like zoom in and see different parts of the photograph.
Well, what is the significance that makes all the museums have it?
It's just, this is street photography. This was the time when street photography was starting. People were experimenting with
Beep.
that.
Beep.
This is also
I think I've just lost.
Oh, we just lost Phil and Paulette.
oh,
Oh, they froze, didn't they? Yeah.
yeah, so this is just a photograph. Bernice Abbott was taking pictures all the time. So this is just one of those photographs that people have in their collection.
It's also very nice memories. Things like this has completely gone.
Mhm.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
right.
Yeah, it's, architecture that no longer exists. It's a cityscape of a city that looks very different now. So these photographs are always very interesting for that social documentary point of view. All right, so we're leaving New York City.
Okay, where are we going next?
We're heading down to Texas, babe. Here we
All
are,
right.
Ooh,
to the drive-in.
The drive-in theater. Oh my word.
Cactus.
Our Texas.
Ah,
So
look
this
there.
is, I am not a Texan, so you probably are all aware of where this is, but it's near McAllen in South Texas.
Hmm?
This artist's name is my first two names, Russell Lee.
There you
Oh,
go.
really?
I'll be darned. They named it
cool.
after you.
Mhm.
Okay.
This is Far, Texas. I guess.
So
maybe,
yeah, so this movie theater was built in I want to say 46. And that was, this was like the only, the neon lights you can see, the neon, kind of the reflection of the sun off the neon lights on the billboard. That was like the spectacle, the coolest thing in South Texas, that it was like that this whole structure had been created. Drive-in movie theaters were very popular up in the north, but it hadn't worked its way totally down south yet. So then when this came, it was people in South Texas didn't know what to do with themselves. They didn't know how to react to a drive-in theater because it allowed you privacy.
Mhm.
Well, we knew what to do with drive-in theaters.
Yeah.
Yes, we did, Dusty.
So people didn't really know what to do. Parents didn't know what to think about their kids going. So it was something that the people were kind of slower to warm up to, but then once they understood it, they thought it was really cool, packing their car and, tailgating essentially to watch these movies. And particularly in the South, but I mean, everywhere, you would kind of go and pick and choose your microphone. And if you want to kind of park not near someone in case your microphone stopped working because of the heat or the rain, you wanted to be able to have an option to pull in another microphone or a speaker that might have worked. So this particular lot held 450 cars.
Oh,
We still have some drive-in movies in Dallas, Fort Worth.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, we do.
One up in the Colony, Louisville, right there. My thought is with COVID, I wonder if they actually had an increase.
I wondered
Because
that.
the cars, they could have the cars, people will be isolated.
Yeah, there's the one on Panther Island, really close to
Yeah.
the museum. And I had that same thought, like that's a perfect thing for families to do if they just needed to get out of the
Yeah.
house.
They don't even have the speaker anymore. It's all broadcast through your radio.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah.
wow.
So
And
this
it doesn't run the battery down?
Well, I don't know.
That
The
used to
modern
be the
radios
bad
don't.
thing.
The modern radios don't take much energy.
That's right.
And if
it depends
nothing
if you're
else,
going in the summer, you want that
you bring in a
AC on.
portable radio and you just turn it on.
Yeah.
Yeah, or even stream on your phone. I'm sure there's a.
Yeah, I'm sure you can do your phone too. So it's there.
Oh,
But the interesting thing here is if you look down at the very bottom of the credits, Standard Oil in New Jersey, they actually did a lot of photography, Standard Oil, all over across the United States. Every place that went, they had photographers taking things.
Yeah, and they gave a lot of photographers, well-known photographers, their start. So
Yeah.
Standard Oil is
I didn't know that.
they did a lot of work for photography, the art of photography.
If you look at the caption there, you see, or the billboard there, you see what we talked about. You got two different movies, and then you have a cartoon.
Yep.
Yeah, so this screen is on the other side of this, and
Yeah.
it was 100. They estimate 100 by 100 inches. That can't be right. Feet. Yeah, and so up here was the screen, and then down here there were offices. That's where the offices were.
And the snack bar.
And the snack bar.
Oh yeah, gotta have snacks. That's what you do with the kids.
And that was like, this gave a lot of kids in the area jobs. Teenage kids worked here because it was kind of easy money and fun and pretty low maintenance in terms of what was expected out of them. There was a really, I ended up reading an op-ed article in the Texas Monthly magazine from, I want to say like 1999, about this particular drive-in. And it was just kind of, this was like the highlight of so many people because it gave so many people things to do. And and the artwork and the neon lights too were in and of itself something that really drew a lot of people. So on here you can see there's mountains and cactus, and there is like a man with a horse, it looks to be. What is it? Yucca plant, hills and clouds, a rendering of the cowboy. So it had that Texas, and called the cactus. So it had that Texas charm to it. And then I want to say in 70s or in the 70s at some point, it was starting to fail. And so again, like the theater that we just saw, then they started showing the dirty movies, and then the dirty movies weren't doing well. And so they doubled, they bought more parking, like more land to increase visitorship, to allow more in there. So then they were hosting like different things throughout the week, might be farmers markets, that type of thing they would host on that surface. And then in 1978, it was torn down, and today it is a Walmart.
Walmart now.
So,
I think the one in Louisville has like 5 different screens.
oh, does it really?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I couldn't find anything about them adding another screen, but surely they'd had to have something more than having all that.
I don't know. The one I grew up in only had 1 screen. Town I went.
Yeah, and it said in the 70s they doubled the lot. So I don't, in 71. So it's called twinning. They twinned the lot. So anyway, this is, I'm sure people have fond memories of going to drive-ins as a child or on dates or as a parent. But I thought you can't talk about movies without a drive-in.
That's right.
I know that that we went, my family took me and my brother and I to a drive-in movie, but I can't for the life of you tell you what the movie was.
What's the
I was
name?
playing in the back seat.
I was gonna say, it was like the snacks and the playing, sitting in the trunk was more interesting.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right, so now we're leaving Texas to head back to New York. And we've seen, this is a print, and we've seen Mabel Dwight in the past. She has done the fish at the aquarium. She did the crowded doctor's office.
Oh, yeah.
This is that same artist. And so she was very into depicting the everyday life of New York City in kind of a satirical way, in a upbeat, not a negative way, so as some, you know, more cynical artists might have done. She was just kind of capturing the life of the city. So here we have the movies. What do you see?
I see the clock on the wall.
Yeah. Something they don't have in movie theaters these days.
No.
Oh, my goodness. There's a guy asleep on the back row.
Yep, good catch.
And at first I couldn't figure out what the guy standing up was, but then I realized he had a coat in his hand and a hat in his hand. He's trying to get to a seat.
Yep.
Yeah.
So
His seat, and then everybody has to get out of his way. Some people have to kind of stand up. Some people
Yeah.
lean
Yeah.
over because they can't see.
yeah,
They're
so
watching, yeah.
I've found a couple. This is another print. Just Mabel Dwight stuff is in a lot of museums too in the country. Something I found, there are 2 different points of view I found on this, but I think one of them is correct. The Library of Congress said that this is a man walking to his seat, whereas other art historians say this is a man leaving the movie because of the final scene that's happening here. That was very
Risque.
well, cliche of a love movie to end that final shot of the couple embracing in a kiss, and all is well in the world. So that was very characteristic of the end of romantic movies at that time. And so people, the speculation by a couple art historians is that this man is getting up and leaving, and because he knows how this ends and he's done, he's seen enough, and now he's gone. And the fact that this man's asleep, it probably wouldn't be the beginning of a movie.
Oh, you're right.
But-
Add it off.
But watch the 2 women next to the sleeping man. I mean, the younger one, she looks very
And
into
raptured.
the movie.
Yes.
Yes.
And
There's the older one.
not that one, the one with the back next to the sleeping man, and then the young woman behind her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Wants to
it's
see.
funny, they look as if they are dressed up. I mean,
Yes.
nicely dressed.
Mhm.
Yes, this was the social thing to do in New York at this time. So people would get very dressed up. I think the movies were just created not many years, that year, if not the year prior, going to the movies as a social outing. So this was something to go to do and to be seen. And so people would dress up. I mean, and it looks like the clock is saying it's almost 9 or 10 o'clock. You would assume in the evening. So people were, dressed for the theater.
The architecture of the building represents that this was not really a movie theater. It was a theater
Yeah.
True.
that they'd put a screen in to show a movie.
Right. And you can see the balconies too, which would
Right.
see that.
Hey, and right below the balconies, is that like the music section? But this is a silent film?
I don't know if it was a silent film. I don't know what film she's actually referencing. And I'm not enough of a movie buff to know if in 1928 what type of sound would accompany
It
it.
probably would have been a silent film, 28.
But yeah, I can't identify what that group is. And this
Okay.
is, I don't know. But some of the, her commentary, she always had kind of a little commentary, nothing typically negative, but this was a new social phenomenon that happened going to the movie theaters, and these people getting up, some art historians speculate that she was talking about already this man is getting bored, like that progression is happening so fast at this time with technology that, even after a couple of years of something already existing as it was, people were looking for the next type of excitement. So they were already kind of bored with this and looking for the next.
So right in front of the movie screen on the right-hand side in the middle, looks like a person standing up to do something, but
He's probably leaving as well.
okay.
And this person here kind of mimics holding his coat, mimics the motion of the people on the screen. So you're following, because everybody's gaze is up there, you're kind of following, you go up, and then you're everything's kept within the frame of the picture.
Talkies started in the late 20s, so it could have been either a talkie or a silent.
Yeah, good. Thank you for looking at that.
You bet. Hey, Dusty, who's with you? And you're on mute.
It's Robert.
Hey, Robert, welcome.
Hi.
When they put sound in theaters, because I remember it, they didn't always have the speakers mounted in it. They actually had a speaker on the floor and a big rolling thing that was actually a big horn that was behind the screen. So it looked like the sound was coming from the screen itself.
Okay.
Because I remember seeing my high school had one. I didn't use it much, but they had one. And really, really, gave out a lot of sound.
Cool.
Yeah. And it just rolled in there, connected up and projected out. It was really great when they showed movies in the auditorium. It was because it was a theater auditorium, but they'd show movies in there.
Like
and they'd use that as the sound.
Yeah.
It was really cool.
Oh, those were the days when you had reels in your classroom.
Yeah. Well, they didn't have them in classrooms at this stage.
Yeah.
Reels were only in projections.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Reels.
Because films in the classroom didn't come out until they had 16 millimeters.
Yeah.
Which was a long time from 1928 till they came out.
Remember the projectors? I remember, like, you got assigned, you would let's hit the record. The teacher would start your record, and there was that projector, and then it would be like beep, and the kid would twist the
Yeah, that was the film script, the film scripts, type of thing.
Man, you just wished you were that kid to twist it, because you felt
That's as cool as cleaning a razor.
And woe to the child who turned it 2 times.
Oh yes.
You're off, turn it back.
Looking for a laugh, that one.
Yeah.
Sure.
All right, we're gonna stay in the theater. We got one more, well, 1.5. We're staying in the theater and we're
Oh,
Oh,
looking at our a young gal at the theater enjoying popcorn.
Mm-hmm. Eating popcorn.
she's very intense.
Yeah.
Yes. So this particular artist, I just think this is such a fun story. So this artist, his name is Ouija. That's not his
Ouija.
That's not his God-given name. That was his nickname. Everybody knew him as Ouija because he installed a police radio in his car, and he would hear about these crimes and get to them before the police got there, and would take photographs, these often kind of haunting photographs of whatever the crime scene looked like. And so he got the nickname Ouija because it was almost like a ghost was telling. He was quick and he knew about things like a Ouija board.
Hmm.
Got there
Oh, okay.
before anybody else often was at these places. So that was his nickname. And Ouija was really interested in taking pictures that were not staged, that were often undetected. Like here he's using, I want to make sure I'm saying it right, the infrared photograph. So they didn't even know their picture was being taken. So that's why he liked going to movie theaters, because he knew that these people are having very private moments because they don't think anyone's looking at them, watching them. They're enthralled in a story. So he took a lot of pictures at the movie theater because he was able to capture the true spirit of people in these situations.
Little girl behind is very intent too.
And look
Yeah.
at this one
Yes.
too.
Yeah.
yes.
So it
he-
must
there's
have been
some-
a movie that caught everybody's attention.
Yeah, for a kid to sit still that long. I mean, because she looks pretty bitty.
Well, she's not putting it in her mouth, she's just holding it, the popcorn. That means she's very intent on what's going. She don't want to.
Look around, not always.
But again, I think it was, I can't remember who commented on how dressed up they were. This was taken, 20 years after that lithograph, but still very, she's got a cardigan on, they've got hats on, her
That's the
hair is
50s.
done.
Well, I remember,
That's
if
the
we
early.
went to the movies, we always had to have on slacks, a nice
Oh,
shirt.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Now
course,
people are in like Lululemon sweatpants and a big old purse with soda and popcorn. I mean, like it is so far from.
Because my grandmother always changed out of her house dress to a good dress to
Yeah.
step out the door.
It's like
Ooh.
traveling. It was like
Yeah,
traveling.
my mother was the same way. You had to dress up to go outside. Yeah.
What's up?
My mother was a teacher and she always said she was afraid to go to the grocery store in shorts because her students might see her.
Oh God. Yeah.
Well, I understand that because being a pastor in a small community, you run into everybody,
Yes.
and so you kind of, in fact, one place I was a part-time pastor, so I was a security job, and I went to a Walmart and ran into some of the church members, and they were just kind of like, "What? What are you doing?"
You work for a living?
Why are you wearing a uniform? So it was interesting.
It's like seeing a fish out of water whenever you run into
Well,
somebody
and
out of
my
the
wife would
context.
go to a grocery store and
Yes.
she would come home.
Yeah.
And she said, "Well, I ran into such and such, and they want to talk.
Oh.
Ran into such and such, and they wanted to talk,
Mhm.
And so it took a long time. Even now, there's sometimes, because sometimes I'll just sit in the car, and she doesn't come out, and she doesn't come out. She says, "Well, I ran into such and such."
Yeah.
That's funny.
Yeah,
That used to be socialization.
it is. Yes.
Yeah.
Well, these days it is because you only meet people in the grocery store. COVID.
These days, yeah.
Yeah.
If you're detected, if you don't have your mask, or if you have your mask on, you can run your errands and see everybody you know, and no one knows it's you.
Yeah.
Mhm.
All right, well, one more, just the next image is just kind of fun. She's eating popcorn, and here's a painting of a popcorn, or a lithograph of a
Oh,
popcorn.
that's cool. I like that. Yeah,
It's just something fun.
it is.
A little
those are
abstract.
Popcorn.
These are our artworks for the week.
Artwork.
Oh, that was good, Peggy.
This
I
week is
enjoyed it.
Golden Globes, but they're not broadcasting them this year because the viewership was so low last year. So January 9th, just refresh your computer and you can see all who your winners are. But yeah, you won't be able to watch it on ABC or NBC.
That's amazing.
I know. Times are changing.
Yep.
Yes,
Anyway,
they
next week
are.
we're back and I think we're doing pretty patterns. So we will
Sounds
look
right.
at
Which, okay.
artwork. We'll look at a few artworks, but one artwork is actually coming down off you this weekend. So we'll get to spend one more moment with it before it's no longer part of us. So.
Good.
It's
All
hard,
right.
it's hard to understand that these things actually get taken out of frames and put in drawers.
Well, this one, you're going to be in for a real treat. The one artwork I'm particularly talking about is a massive steel cube that's hanging from our ceiling right now.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
Yes,
Okay.
you guys are in for a treat, so I'm excited.
All right, great.
Peggy,
Yeah.
would
Mhm.
it ever be possible for you to take us on a tour of the museum, like back in the archives and such?
Yeah,
Could-
I
Do
would.
that one day?
Yeah, we'll just have to set it up with our either a curator or conservation. I don't have all of the vault cleared.
Yeah.
They don't, they don't give it to any Joe Schmo. But yeah, we can set it up with advance notice and everything. So that can definitely be something we do.
You
We
know,
would
I don't
love
know
that.
exactly how they do it, but I know that you could probably do it somehow. There's some that actually do a walking exhibit
They did before it was open.
with the video, type of thing.
Oh, yeah. Well, we're kind of funny about, and understandably so, we don't photograph or videotape our vaults.
Mhm.
Because I know you art heists out there might know too much. So
Yeah.
we don't do behind the tour type of scenes like that,
Yeah.
but there are certain areas of clearance that we are allowed to take visitors with the right people in place. So if ever that is something of interest, Martha, we can hammer out
Yes,
those
please.
details.
Let me just say, we want to set that up. I think
Yeah,
I would
please.
love for
If
these.
it's like Disney, you'd have to charge us extra, right?
Oh, he's free. For you all, you're free. Don't even worry. No, it would be cost absolutely nothing. And
Well,
it would be
I
nice
know.
time.
Yeah,
Peggy,
I'm
you're
just
an
saying.
angel. We look forward to pretty
Yeah,
patterns.
absolutely, Peggy. Thank you.
All right,
so
guys, it
much.
was so good
Yeah,
seeing you.
thank
Have a
Thanks,
good
Bye.
Peggy.
Bye.
Bye-bye, Peggy.
Bye.
Thank you.
So long,
Bye-bye.
farewell.
Okay, well, let's take a look at what's coming up for tomorrow. There is Peggy. Tomorrow we're doing Nia moving to heal. That is chair yoga for any of you who haven't been. Emily is fun. She makes, what was that, Dusty?
That was Robert. I don't know. That was me. I think he's already in his chair.
Well, yes, all of us are in our chairs. That's right. And Emily makes that fun. So if you can show up, show up.